Alright everybody, it's me, Kuddlesnot. I'm here with the Ultimate Builds episode, if you will. So we're kind of go through, the different vendors and kind of my strategies for finding items to best make our possessed weapons. And since I'm Necromancer, that's mostly where we're going to focus on, although I do explain a good Harbinger build and I'll do one example possessed weapon. Some of you may notice that I am missing a lot of my Boatman Coins and a lot of my money, and that's because I already went to all the vendors to kind of get the items so I can make these builds for you, or make the build for you. And we are going to go to all the vendors to kind of show my process, but I already did a lot of the legwork, so it'll just be a lot of explanation. So let's get to it. So first, it doesn't seem to really be a difference in wares between Ostagoth and the Shadow's Edge and an Eternal Throne, but he does always seem to have the best stuff. But you should always check Muria and Alia or whatever faces in Tristone, and as well talk to Nathaniel at Lost Light.
Will you bring death or give life?
Yeah, that's cryptic. Okay, so we're gonna end up at the Kingdom of the Dead. For now, we'll just kind of go through all the different vendors. Not including Ostagoth here. You can go find him again if you want. But first, we will go to the Forge Lands. All right. So first things first. If you are planning to play through the game again to get the rest of the achievements, level 30, and defeat the Crucible, beating the Crucible at this point is a little bit more difficult without reaching level 30. It is quite possible if you have the right build, but of course you breeze through it if you have the right build and you're level 30. And here's Muria. So, I guess in a nutshell, and again I'll go over it again in a little bit more detail, in a nutshell, for Necromancer, you're looking for, in Talismans, you're looking for Arcane Critical Damage, Arcane, everyone wants Execution Chance, and then Arcane Critical Chance. You see the one I equipped right now does have some. That is a critical one. But also it depends on how you're going to spend your stones, because having over 100% Arcane Critical Chance doesn't help you at all. Being over 100% on physical critical chance isn't any different either. It doesn't have any greater effect, at least not that I know of. One thing to remember, though, is that critical chance on your Talisman affects both your primary and your secondary weapon, whereas if it's on your possessed weapon, it only affects that particular weapon. And that's opposite of Arcane, where Arcane critical damage is, separate from your weapon, so having it on your possessed weapons affects your overall stat. It's not dependent on which weapon it's on. Also, remember to, unless you're looking for a talisman to replace the one you currently have equipped, you probably have something that's pretty good, and you're going to out-level it pretty quickly anyway. But look at the purples. If you're looking for specific stats to sacrifice to your possessed weapons, look for, the greens and the blues. Like here, this one has 30% critical chance, and I'll sacrifice that even though I'm not going to equip it. Okay, so now we'll go visit the two armorers, and you are looking for the same stats, except for you're looking for two in particular. At this point forward, you don't need them critically now to beat the final boss or defeat the deposed king, but you are going to need them for the ultimate builds because they're actually kind of easy to exploit for the Crucible. So you want to kind of keep an eye out for them now and check all the different vendors for them, and even if it's not that great of a weapon, if it has the stat, grab it because you want to put it on your possessed scythes and possibly your secondary weapon. Probably mostly just your scythes. And if we get lucky, it'll be here, but maybe not. I did buy some earlier, so I'll be able to show you at least one of them before. Okay, so nothing here. We're looking for Wrath Steel and Health Steel. And these are a little bit different than Wrath on crit, Health on crit, Wrath on kill, that sort of thing. And that's because it affects everything you do. It affects a, execution, it affects a critical, it affects just basic damage of wrath and health acquisition. It's not dependent on a certain thing. As well as it's overpowered to the point where if you execute somebody with it, no matter what the percentage, you will always gain full health or full wrath depending on which one you have. If you have both, you'll get both. So for later builds, and kind of now if you're lucky to have it, it is awesome, so keep an eye out for it. See, we got anything here? Wrath per kill, Wrath and crit. No stealing. It's not usually on the greens. It might be on the blues or the purples. Okay, let's look at stuff here. So, I already bought some stuff, but we can take a look here. The main ones you were looking for on armor, and I think for both, there's really stuff better than the Abyssal Armor. The Abyssal Armor looks cool, but there's stuff that has better strength and better critical damage. It's good for kind of across the board if you got a mixed distribution of skill points, but if you're kind of concentrated on one side or the other, they're not really the best. You're looking for critical damage, critical chance, and defense and resistance not so much, because you'll be healing yourself kind of so quickly that you don't really need them. And of course strength if you're doing all those, if you're doing Harbinger. Now if you're doing Necromancer, you want the same thing as you want the other one. You want arcane critical damage, arcane critical chance, although that's not very likely on equipment. And then, you know, everyone wants health, defense, all that stuff, but again, that doesn't really seem to matter all that much unless you're really bad at getting hit all the time. Dodging around is so simple that just having enough defense and enough health that you don't die instantly. It's much better to have health and wrath regaining abilities that'll actually regain it faster than you really take it. And again, that goes out the window when you're under-leveled fighting on the Crucible, but at this point, that'll give you up a fair fight just against just about anybody. And let's see if there's anything else interesting here. Wrath cost. See, Wrath cost is a little bit interesting because you can't put it on possessed weapons, unlike critical chance, arcane critical chance, or any other thing like that. Wrath cost, and there's one of the thorns you can't put on, that sort of thing. So Wrath cost is nice, but it's not necessarily worth the sacrifice of additional arcane or additional arcane critical damage in order to get it. So keep that in mind. And I'm giving you all these tips, but this is not make or break sort of stuff. This is really just kind of a framework and how I think about it, as well as kind of like how you best play. And again, it all also depends on how you have your skill points distributed. So, and we'll go visit our third favorite vendor at Lost Light, Nathaniel. And another thing to remember is that the max level cap is 22 before you start a new game plus. And you'll be perfectly happy with level 20 or 21 or even 19 gear at this point. Because again, when you go to New Game Plus, you'll be leveling out of it really damn quick. And you don't really need fully maxed out gear, level 22 gear, to defeat anybody. On Nightmare, you want to spend some time and make sure you've defeated and practiced fighting the Deposed King. Because he seems to be the only real challenger out of all the bosses, and that's because of that damn ice freezing that then just destroys you. So, Wrath Energy per kill, no. Reaper Energy, you know, not... I don't think it's a critical thing, but you guys know I don't really use Reaper all that much. So that, you know, might be biased. If you use Reaper a lot, having that sort of like Reaper energy on hit and stuff like that, that might be to your advantage. See if you got anything good. Go damage arcane. See, like this, you got a mixed build that's pretty good, and it's already got a little bit more arcane than on the. Actually, I guess a little bit less. The stuff I have has more arcane or more strength, but the abyssal armor definitely has the best spread if you got a spread of skill points. Nothing good here. So we've got critical damage and strength. This isn't bad. This isn't bad for Harbinger builds. But I mean, you really got to do it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I think there's only like 2 real ultimate builds at the end of the game, but at this point there isn't. So just play and have fun, guys. It's not the end of the world. You just can't have stuff spread out. Oh, this one's pretty good. Doesn't have arcane critical chance though. Although if we put that on, alright, I'll take a look. Yeah, let's buy that sucker.
Many hands have wielded this. May yours not be the last.
You just okay. What I was gonna say is you just have to be careful that you don't have stuff spread, like some stuff strength, sometimes arcane, some critical chance. You want to make sure you concentrate those skills, so that's how you get the super high damage, and no matter what you're doing. Arcane, if you're Necromancer, because arcane, critical chance, and arcane critical damage directly affect those, where a critical chance and a critical damage affect your weapons. So that's what you got to focus on if you're on Harbinger, because those are physical attacks. Okay, and there's Nathaniel. I'm spending way too much time with these guys. Now let's finally head to the Kingdom of the Dead. Alright, here we are. So let's check what Ostagoth's got for us, and then we will go into the actual building. Come on, buddy. Take smoke of that pipe. Let me see your stuff.
To your heart's content.
Oh, well, thank you. And haha, we have a health steal. Fantastic. So here's one of the best things ever, health steal. And again, oh, 2 of them. Sweet. I'm glad I have money. You might not have money, so kind of be careful. But again, from now on, keep your eye out for health steal and wrath steal, because you'll be needing those for the best builds at the end game, and for now too, so we'll actually be using them. Anything good here? Not so much. Not so much. Critical damage, health regen. See, again, those stats aren't that important right now. They seem nice, but with health steal and wrath steal, you won't need them. I promise. Okay, strength, experience. Yeah, experience isn't important anymore. Guilt found isn't important anymore. I mean, we should all have a bunch of money. Arcane, wrath, dude, that's not bad. It's got a chance. Okay, now we'll get to the actual build. So I have 1 possessed scythe and 2 like fast weapons, possessed weapons at level 21. So I'm gonna be building my two best ideal possessed weapons for this point in the game for Necromancer, and then I'll build 1 Harbinger one just to show you guys how I do it for that build. But first, let's look at our ideal equipment. Again, I already went through once, and that's why all my money was missing before, like right after the cut, was to, you know, for me doing a bunch of exploring, trying to find the best stuff. And okay, let's take a look here. So here is our level 21 size that we are going to be upgrading. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's equip our ideal stuff right now so we don't accidentally sacrifice it. And see, arm blades or gauntlets. I prefer arm blades. Although you guys know I do not like small weapons. And okay, so I guess this is one distinction that you want to make between Harbinger and Necromancer builds. And that is that Harbinger builds are very much more dependent on the secondary weapon. For the Necromancer builds, not so much. You don't need to put anything specific on that weapon. You want to put stuff on there that increases your arcane, less so that increases the physical importance of that particular weapon, because that's going to increase the damage of your crows, of your ghouls, of everything. So that's the key here, is that it's not about making those weapons powerful, it's about making your arcane powerful, and then making so that your weapons can just suck the life out of everything. And that's not even your secondary weapon, it's mostly your scythe. For Harbinger, it's much more important to make your physical weapons do more damage. Okay, so what do we got? Again, we're going for Necromancer. I do have some stuff that I bought that was good for Harbinger, but that's so I could build that weapon. So defense, critical damage, strength. See, this is pretty damn good. And, okay, let's look at, here we go. Critical damage and strength, 28% and 41%. Let's look at this abyssal plate. 7% and 38%. And this has more defense, too. So, I mean, come on, guys. Like, again, this is a good spread and it looks badass, but unless there's some secret thing about combining them that doesn't seem to exist anywhere, it seems like the combination is just having all of these different ones stacked together, and that this is only advantageous to players that have a spread of skill points. So, we're not going to do that. Alright, so that's not so good for us. That is good. Critical damage, arcane, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Resistance, good. Okay, you know, for Necromancers, we kind of have shitty defense, so keep that in mind. See, now, do we want Wrath cost or Arcane critical damage? Go for Arcane critical damage, because Wrath cost ain't gonna matter no more when you're just sucking Wrath out of everything. Okay, what do we got? Defense, critical damage. See, there's something else good for execution. There we go, Arcane resistance. That is the stuff. Okay, what do we got for boots? Arcane resistance, experience. See, arcane critical damage. Not really feeling arcane resistance, wrath cost. See, now here we got an increase in arcane, significant increase. We don't have to worry. See, here I am going to take the wrath cost down because oh, that's 32 critical damage. Ouch! That's good. Last down 4. We got 15 arcane. Okay, we're going with these Voyager Greaves. I'll take a 4% down arcane critical damage to get 15 additional arcane. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, arcane critical damage, arcane wrath regen. See, I think probably the most... Nah, I guess it depends. What do we got on here? Arcane critical chance and execution chance. Ooh, that's pretty good. Critical chance, arcane critical chance. See, this is a rare one. Arcane critical chance, arcane and execution chance. I'm actually going to hold on to this one. Because let's look at our stats here. See, 29%. We're going to get that up to 100, hopefully. Especially after returning the Stonebites after the Soul Arbiter's Maze. Okay. Alright, so now let us build our Necromancer scythes. We'll change the name in a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, these got little things. Alright, so we went over how to sacrifice possessed weapons, so you can go find that discussion if you want. We're just going to make the most badass weapons you can find here. So the two things we want Wrath Steel and Health Steel. But again, you got to be careful, because if you have too many new things that come onto the weapon, then you might lose one of those two very rare critical stats. So you got to be careful what you sacrifice. Wrath Steel has immediate upgrades, so we're going to go with that. And be careful, don't press A too quick. Wrath Steel, 40%. Fantastic. And you want to put these things on earlier, because as you know, when you upgrade, the level goes up. There's a small chance that it'll upgrade the stats that are already on it without you having to select it. So get those stats on there early. Okay, so where... Health Steel. Here we go. Perfect. There we go. Health Steel. Okay, so now Wrath Steel and Health Steel are great for both, and is what makes you essentially invincible no matter what your build. So these two stats will never change, and you can argue me on this, but I think the third stat should never change either, and that is execution chance. Alright, stay with me here. Because when you execute something, when you have Wrath or Health Steel, no matter what the percentage is on them, you will get full health and full Wrath. So if you get a finishing move and you have high execution chance and you have Wrath and Health Steel on your sides, you are essentially invincible. Not invincible, but essentially invincible, especially when you're fighting stuff that's your level and then a couple levels higher than you. So when you hit level 30 and you have this combination, you are an unstoppable killing machine. And in a way, I think it's almost exploitive, because it doesn't really seem balanced. You just become... Although, I mean, it is a lot of fun to become an unstoppable killing machine. So there is that. So props to you, designers. Alright, so here's one of our old scythes that's already got execution chance on it. We're going to sacrifice that bad boy. So you see health and Wrath Steel went up. There's execution chance. Beautiful. So those are the three critical things, no matter what your build. So now for number 4. So this is debatable. And for Necromancer, it could be nothing. It could be arcane critical damage. It could be arcane critical chance. But again, you don't want to be you want to be careful, not go over 100% critical arcane critical chance. And if you're doing a Harbinger build, I would recommend that 4th stat as a... You do get 4 stats, right? Oh, 5 stats. 4th and 5th stat, I would recommend that those are damage. So that's like, piercing damage or elemental damage, that sort of thing. Just to increase the amount of damage that your weapons do. And then from there, have critical chance and critical damage. Or do critical chance and critical damage. It's really up to you. Alright, but I personally think the most powerful build is Necromancer. And that's with, once you have 100% critical chance, and then everything else is going to arcane critical damage. And you have that Health Steel and Wrath Steel and execution chance on your main weapons. Your crows and ghoulies can just take out just about anything, guys. Anything. And it is so much fun. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a second. Let's build a Harbinger gauntlets here. Okay. What are we gonna make? See, now I don't think you want Wrath Steel and Health Steel on your gauntlet and your secondary weapon, and that's because it doesn't affect the execution. That cool thing that happens with execution only works if it's on your scythes. and that's when you regain all your health and all your wrath. And as well as you want to save those stats for when you're building your weapons, and because of how expensive they are and how rare they are. So don't waste them on your secondary weapons. And secondary weapons are a fantastic place, especially for necromancers. That's where you pile on the arcane critical damage, the arcane critical chance. Follow me, you guys follow me here? And additional wrath and all this stuff that just makes you so powerful. But let's stick to Harbinger. So let's make these things fucking badass. So we definitely want some strength. We definitely want some arcane. We definitely want some strength. So let's do strength. And sacrifice all the little people. So you don't, be careful, don't sacrifice your health steal. We don't want that. There's another wrath steal. We don't want to get rid of that. See, we can't even have execution chance on our gauntlets. Unless we already sacrificed something with that. I think we did. Never mind, I take that back. Okay. No, we didn't. We can't even have execution chance on our gauntlets. What do we want? Okay, so definitely want some good old strength. We need some strength. You guys know strength is critical. Since arcane is critical. See, my mindset is a Necromancer right now. I am so totally convinced that Necromancer is the most powerful endgame build that I don't even do Harbinger anymore. But I completely understand that Harbinger is also a lot of fun. So let's get some critical damage. Yeah, that's what we want. We want critical damage and we want critical chance. That's the next stuff we want. But again, remember that it's a little bit different for Harbinger, and that's that when you put critical chance and critical damage onto the weapon itself, it only affects that weapon. It doesn't affect the pool. So you need to be careful that you also spend some time putting that damage and chance on your primary weapon as well. Even with the health steal and wrath steal, maybe you don't do execution chance if you're Harbinger. It really is up to you. Okay, so critical damage. Come on. Critical damage. Okay, now let's look at our stats again. Okay, so you can look. Critical damage is only affected that one particular weapon. Which is why, if you are Harbinger, you want to put you want to put critical damage and critical chance on those main weapons. Then for your secondary weapons, since you don't have wrath steal and you don't have health steal, that's where you put the strength. That's where you put the health. That's where you put the wrath, because that's you just have those empty slots there. So might as well put something useful, and those affect your damage output no matter which weapon you're using. It doesn't matter which weapon they are on. Alright, this is taking a little too long, but you guys know what I'm talking about, where I'm going for. The next thing on this secondary weapon would be critical chance. And so in a nutshell for Harbinger, health steal, wrath steal, just like a Necromancer, and then critical damage and critical chance. And then on the secondary weapon, instead of health steal and wrath steal, put strength, and then put elemental damage, and then put critical chance and critical damage. All right, so now let's finish this. So we got the health steal, wrath steal, execution chance. Again, we are Necromancer, so we're gonna finish this sucker up. What are we gonna put on this? We are going to put. We're gonna put arcane critical damage. That's the first thing we're gonna put on here. There we go. Again, be careful not to put on too many things. Now I am concentrating. There's no reason for me to really do that. Okay. There we go. Arcane critical damage. Perfect. Oh, we can only put 4. That's what I thought. You can only put 4. Okay, yes. We want arcane critical damage. Because just maximum those out as much as we can are the ultimate things we can do right now. So now what do we want to upgrade the most? See, health steal and wrath steal not so important, because again when you execute that, so we want execution chance to go up, we want arcane critical damage to go up. So which one are we going to put on there? And you see, the reason I didn't put arcane critical chance on this one is because we're going to put it on the secondary weapon, as well as as well as we are going to spend many of our stones to update that stat, so we don't have to waste it on our possessed weapons to get up to 100%. Okay, so no, that's the arm blades we're going to update. Yeah, let's sacrifice that. See, everything goes up, and then we'll update arcane critical damage. Okay, so now we're upgraded. I'll let you guys vote on the name. That's right, vote for the name of my size. Boom, there you go. Okay, so let's equip those arm blades, and let's upgrade. Okay, so this sucker, we want arcane. We absolutely want arcane on these bad boys. Where be my arcane? I'm trying not to waste one that also has arcane critical damage or critical chance on it. Looks like they pretty much all do. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now we can go to the wasteful, and many of you probably also know about the legacy artifacts. There we go. There's arcane, which give you weapon experience for possessed weapon experience for sacrificing without adding any additional stats, which make doing this a little bit easier. Okay, so we got the arcane. Now we want the arcane critical chance. There we go. Now again, we want to be careful that we don't put too much, we don't overwhelm this thing, we don't put too much on it. Perfect. There it is, arcane critical chance. Now let's look at our stats, 47. So that's already pretty damn good, but you hit 100, whoo! You become unstoppable. Okay, let's put arcane critical damage on there. What do I not care about? Care about you. Come on, guys, give me something. Perfect. Arcane critical damage. Beautiful. Okay, so now for that last stat. Now, what is that pesky last stat? I'm thinking Wrath, just to sweeten the pot up a little bit. So let's do that. Where's Wrath? Don't tell me I got nothing with Wrath on it, motherfuckers. Come on, give me something good. Here we go. See, Wrath. Perfect. Okay. So now it's just upgrading it as best you can. So we'll definitely keep them equipped. You see, these are all stats that do not affect the direct damage of these weapons. They would affect my arcane. So let's get arcane critical chance. One more. Beautiful. And then the rest don't matter. And upgrade our critical chance. See, that's what you should focus on now, is arcane critical chance. And there, we're good. Okay, so we're at 51 and 267. That is huge. And 57. Oh, guys, this is not the ultimate, but it is really damn good. Remember, vote on the name of the possessed double size. We're gonna be using them for a while, but I guess for the rest of the videos. But what should we name these bad boys? All right, I named it Darksiders 3 because there ain't ever gonna be a Darksiders 3, so this is about as good as it's gonna get. Alright guys, that's it. This is my cool, awesome build for everything but the Crucible to definitely get us through most of the story. And then we'll, level all the way up and then go for the Crucible. But thanks for watching. If you like the spreadsheet guide, and I've told you guys way too much about it already, so if you know what that is, just send me a PM if you're a subscriber, and I'll send that right over to you. And also like me on Facebook, because, like I always say, it makes me feel good inside. Alright guys, thanks for watching. It's been Kuddlesnot, signing off, and I'll see you again next time.